And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're back in business with the free-for-all showdown featuring Rakkarth and his squad of Hydras. We do indeed have two Hydras, one of which is going to be the Chill of Sontar, as well as the Crows of Cain. So certainly a couple beasts for the Beastmaster to gaze at, and Whiplash should be fun. On top of that, he is going to be riding his mighty dragon as well, Brachus. Definitely a pretty cool looking dragon. I don't know if I like it more than Lokir's. Lokir's I don't think has quite as much armor, but it has this like cool glowing black aura coming from it, so a little bit tough, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So for my build on top of that, we do have a couple Dread Spears and Dark Shards here in the backfield. So I didn't want to have pure monsters with no anti-skirmish, because for example, if I just had like Hydras and a dragon, my opponents come in with Spider Rider Archers, or the High Elves, for example, could have Reavers, any number of other threats. I'm just going to get my bread buttered, right? So I want to have something to at least counter skirmish, and that's what the Dark Shards are for. On top of that, they pack a pretty mean punch. So over here for the greenskins, we do have the Rogue Idol, Da Biggin. On top of that, we got some bacon here for Dauntless Onslaught. Got some black orcs here in the front line, Grimgor Ironhide as well. I think there's a caster somewhere hiding. I think he has a little goblin behind him. Yeah, looking somewhere. Or maybe going for the dreaded no caster build. We'll find out. So for the High Elves and the Phoenix King, it is going to be Shadow Walkers, a pretty cool set of units for sure. You don't get to see Shadow Walkers too often, but if you're going to make them work, Free-For-All is a place to do it, right? In Free-For-All, you can get away with a number of builds that normally be terrible in 1v1, and you can surprise people for sure. So he's got that, a Prince. Looks like the Prince is going to be on the Griffin, so the Walmart Eltharion going on, Dragon Princes in the backfield, and a Mage of Life to heal all those expensive princes. Now over here for the forces of Bretonnia and Lambie, he's got Peasant Archers, a fair amount of Questing Knights. It is going to be Uncle Albert, so we got Alberic on horseback, backed by Damsel of Life and a Paladin, and that is pretty much it. So let's get this party started, my friends, and have some fun. The battle is upon us. The fate of the old world shall be decided in this FFA map. And you know what, I actually really do think that this FFA map is probably my favorite of the bunch. It really kind of captures, in my opinion, how a siege battle should be, right? You have these like this street fighting, you take in different angles. I think it'd be really fun if, for example, you look at current siege battles. You go in, you attack the walls, you get into a city, then it's suddenly like this, right? The capture point's on the other side. There's kind of open areas, and it's not necessarily symmetrical. I think that's quite cool. Anyways, Rogue Idol throwing its fat boulders down here. It does punish a fair amount of my Dread Spears. Poor guys, they definitely got pounded pretty good. It looks like we lost 15 Dread Spears in the process. I'm just trying to creep up on that Rogue Idol. This is actually a replay from a stream that was really, really fun, so I figured we'd recast it here and give it its own shine. But yeah, Rakkarth has a huge hard-on for attacking big monsters, right? He hits very hard. He has an inbuilt bonus versus large with Whiplash and Beast Slaver. This bad boy does some huge work. So the first breath attack's going down in the Black Orcs, which do overextend a little bit, and these Black Orcs are going to be getting pounded by Dark Shards and a bunch of different units, and it's really going to be a bad time for these very, very elite Orcs. So the Spears are going to be engaging with the Hydra just to kind of screen these guys up, and as soon as the Spears do engage, I'm like, you know what, I probably shouldn't engage. I should just pull back and let my Hydra as well as the Dark Shards tee off, because with the Spears not being engaged here, it gives me a better arc of fire with all of my Dark Shards. Now in the backfield, we got some pigs, so we got some Savage Orc Biggins coming in, trying to flank my back line. So in response, we pulled the Hellebronai, the Chillest of the Dudes, and the Crows of Cain to kind of intercept these pigs, so we should be able to kind of deal with them pretty well. Unfortunately, I don't brace for it. I just kind of take the charge like a champ, but the Crows of Cain kind of blunt their charge anyway, so it all worked out. Now in the front, Black Orcs and Crimson Kill is moving in, but the Hydras should make pretty quick work. And up in the sky, a breath attack coming in all over the face of the Rogue Idol, although it doesn't look like it did that much damage. But Beast Slaver is active, and we will be using the Beast Slaver and Occam's Mind Razor. So that was my whole strategy. So right now we're at 1170 weapon damage with a huge bonus versus large, and suddenly this Rogue Idol isn't looking so metal after all, as we're getting a lot of anti-large attacks, and you can see we're rapidly chewing through the HP. So 900 and down to 9,000 from 9,800. Down to 88, and then another 7.5. This Rogue Idol is getting melted by the Mind Razor Rakkarth. The whole kind of strategy with this build was to kind of soup up Rakkarth, really take advantage of the sniping abilities, and live long and prosper. Now, the Greenskins normally would have had some support, maybe had some archers kind of shooting back, get some good damage on Rakkarth, but unfortunately for the poor Greenskins here, they do get flanked by the High Elves. Now, there's Dragon Princes running amok in the back lines and just absolutely ravaging this poor archer line. I felt bad for him for sure. It's always a bad feeling when you're the one getting backdoored in these FFA games. Definitely doesn't feel good. Over here, Bretonnia engaging with some of the Spearmen, and the High Elf Prince fighting shoulder to shoulder with his spears, but a little bit trapped up in these Questing Knights. Also, Alberic and the Paladin are coming in. Alberic is an excellent anti-large character, plus with the Kraken's Bane item, he does give anti-large to all the Questing Knights, so suddenly they're very, very efficient against this big flying character. And we do have a little bit of cav fighting in the streets, but for the most part, the Questing Knights do get blocked out by the Spearmen and aren't quite able to get through. So the High Elves definitely in a bit of a tricky situation too, because they sandwich the Orcs and then the Bretonnia sandwich them. I'm pretty much the only one who's in a safe-ish position, right? I have myself caddy cornered here. I could be flanked in this area, but currently there's no threats over here, so if I had to fall back, I certainly could. And Grim War is basically just in the process of getting completely dunked on by your boy Rakkarth right here. And Rakkarth sitting at 108 leadership. I think he gazed it himself. I'm not quite sure. Or actually, no, it's the murderous business going on, giving plus 15 leadership. Pretty good. Certainly, if you're a Dark Elf player, that's something to be very aware of, something that I need to work on. I have to say, whenever I play Dark Elves, I never really look at that. It's like, oh, it happened. Okay, good thing we're fighting. You guys get the picture. It helps with missiles, too. So I think it's, armor-piercing missile damage. So if you're Dark Shards, repeater crossbow shades, all that kind of good stuff. Now, the two Hydras moving downtown, I think they're going to be coming up and under and looking to perhaps engage here. I felt like I was missing out on a lot of the fun. I did get a huge early lead from that Rogue Idol. You know, the big one is a unit that costs 2,700 gold. So being able to pretty much just massacre it with Rakkarth very quickly gave us a huge lead in points. And the poor Greenskins certainly got caught in a pickle, like I said. Their Black Orcs and Savage Orcs getting forced off the battlefield. And Grimgor was also karate chopped, and now I believe he is laying somewhere in the bushes over there. He's just resting his eyes. That's all that's going on over there. I feel like Porky Pig. That's all, folks. War Hydra's moving in. Certainly some good targets for breath attacks. A lot of bunched up Bretonnian Knights. So the Chill of Sontar able to get some nice chill breath attacks here, and the Bretonnian Knights getting roasted by the fire from the double Hydras. That is a lot of damage for sure. Was certainly quite happy about that. And feeling as if I had done enough damage here to kind of justify an attack. We move in with Rakkarth, but I do get hit with Plague of Rust, and I did not notice this during the game. I was like, how am I taking so much damage suddenly, right? But I was going after the Bretonnian, so I didn't think there was that much going on here. But all three of the Shadow Walkers are unleashing all of their volleys here into Rakkarth with the Plague of Rust, and now he has 20 armor. I'm getting melted by the very high missile strength here on the Shadow Walkers. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, okay, I know Alberic has bonus first large, and so does the Paladin, but, you know, I have 100 armor. I'm pretty durable here, but Rakkarth gets absolutely dunked on by the Shadow Walkers in the backfield, and suddenly the High Elves pull up into a very tight second place, so the lead I kind of felt very comfortable in certainly was very fickle. And now on top of that, I made the classic mistake of putting war into a losing situation, right? So it's like in a chess game, for example, you have a losing position. Yeah, you can make a couple trades, but in the end, your opponent's going to get more value. And that's what ended up happening to me here. The Hydra getting chased down by the cavalry. I'm being crossfired by both the Bretonnians and the High Elves, so the last alliance of these two factions has formed, and the War Hydra is 100% going to be going down. Thankfully, I was able to salvage the Chill of Sontar. Over here, we do also get Rakkarth back in a second. I think he's got like 132 HP, but hopefully that bad boy will come back here and do a little something. And all of the Dark Shards are pulling back. Dark Shards will be circling down and under, looking for some angles, because, yeah, the lead that I had is pretty much gone. The High Elves have really caught up here. Their Shadow Walkers must have some pretty crazy value, and now it looks like the Trident coming in, going to be splashing these Shadow Walkers with some water there. Doesn't do much damage, and let's go and take a look here at the value they've accrued. Yeah, 1,700 on those Shadow Walkers. Very nice. It's not often you get to see those guys pay for themselves. Now, Dragon Prince is going to be moving in to buy time for the Shadow Walkers to get back. Shadow Walkers are pretty good in combat. They do have 45 and 42 for their combat stats with poison. So honestly, fighting against these very beleaguered questing knights isn't necessarily going to be a terrible deal for the Shadow Walkers as they move in and do start to kind of cut through these various units. So looking around the battlefield overall, let's see. I think the Greenskins still have something hiding in the bushes somewhere, and Rakkarth did come back on the edge of the map. You know, you just got to have him gaze at himself to get that leadership buff, so he'll come back. And figuring that this was kind of a trap, this is where I got trapped before, where my mouse is. I wanted to go up and around, flank the High Elves, and then engage the Bretonnia and the Bretonnian player in the final stages of the game. And the Crows of Cain, not sure what I was up to with them. I think I was trying to chase something off, and then I just kind of lost my focus there. Greenskins do have some Savage Orc Biggins cavalry riding there in the back, and it looks like maybe they're looking to rear charge the Bretonnians, can't quite tell. And here comes the Mage of Life. Not quite sure where that mage is going. Certainly in the danger zone. And here we get a couple Dragon Princes who do move in, trying to get some freebies on my archers. But we got the Chill of Sontar, man. Not going to take any prisoners here, as it is able to potentially pick off a couple of the princes, although it looks like some of them are getting back. Yeah, Dragon Princes are able to retreat there, and we'll see if they can regroup and get their bearings. Crows of Cain, I know I'm going to have to deal with the Bretonnian archers in the late game, so I'm like, okay, let's get down here. Let's get these crows. Very sticky, very hard to remove. High melee defense, not the craziest damage output with only 29 melee attack, but they can still cut through Peasant Archers, no problem. Peasant Archers are rocking 14 melee defense, very squishy, no armor. Crows of Cain doing an excellent job for Cade, as you would probably guess. Dark Shards, teeing off now. I was very happy with this. I was rubbing my hands together like Palpatine during the stream, basically seeing the High Elves and Bretonnia throw the last of their troops at one another while I just sit here with my Dark Shards unleashing all this ammo. It was a really good feeling. Rakkarth coming back, I believe he does have 1 or 2 more breath attacks, so he could certainly be a player in the later stages of this battle. And currently, I was focusing my efforts on taking down the High Elves, considering that Bretonnia had less points, although it's a little bit hard. Maybe I should have like known the High Elves had no chance of being the last man standing and focused Bretonnia, but you know, the decision was made and we're still just going for it. So Rakkarth is back, 132 HP, but that's not to say that he can't dive in, right? Because flying units against ground units will always get the first couple attacks in before the ground unit can often respond. Ground units will have to turn around and, you know, kind of re-angle themselves, but in this case, you know, I'm going to be saving Rakkarth for that kind of final gooning attempt on an enemy lord or caster. And you can see the hordes of Bretonnia being peppered by the Dark Shards while the Chill of Sansar presses up, and the Helibroni, the bros, the Southern California dudes, are going to be moving in. So Hydra able to get the Mage of Life. Mage of Life gets absolutely destroyed by Rakkarth with the Beast Slaver coming in with 650 weapon strength. This bad boy is going strong. 28 leadership, pretty impressive, considering he only has 132 HP. So really something to write home about here. Crows of Cain getting picked apart by the peasants in the back. They were able to take down one unit, but then due to a lapse of micro on my part, they kind of sit idle. And I believe these are High Elf Spearmen, the last bastion of the Phoenix King here, fighting shoulder to shoulder. These guys holding back the Battle Pilgrims, defending their Dark Elf kin. Certainly quite an awesome situation. And here the Dark Shards go. Dark Shards shooting into the Paladins, getting a little bit of damage in, but I have to be really careful, right? The double Paladins plus the Peasant Archers, and a fair amount of infantry, right? He's got a lot of Battle Pilgrims and pretty good infantry quality. I could certainly still lose this game, and but we're ahead, pretty far ahead on points. I just got to make sure that I can get far enough ahead, so if Bretonnia is able to defeat me, considering I have a beat up Rakkarth and Hydra, which a lot of his stuff is good against, we can, you know, get it in the late game. So Battle Pilgrims are going to be surging in. Helibroni, pretty good stats, 34-52 against 40-31, and they also apply poison, so they should be able to win this, especially with the Chill of Sansar helping, and Dark Shards peppering these bald, man, they all have like the Friar's Tucker. This is the haircut that when we had the Everchosen where I had the mullet, I was trying to talk this Italian Spartacus into getting this haircut where he basically just like lets his hair grow around the sides of his head, which I'm pretty sure it does anyways, and then just like, you know, let the sides go like full Friar Tuck. That would have been so awesome, but perhaps in another life, my friends. Perhaps in an alternate universe. Dark Shard shooting in, continuing to tee off here onto the Peasant Bowmen. I did bring the shielded Dark Shards, I think? No, I didn't. So unfortunately, the Peasant Bowmen will get some pretty cost-effective trades, but considering I have a fair amount of Dark Shards, I can get that overwhelming mass to really get some good value there. Spearmen moving up, the Dread Spears will be intercepted by Battle Pilgrims, and a straight-up fight, Battle Pilgrims will defeat the Dread Spears pretty handedly. So a little bit unfortunate here, but the Dread Spears will be pulling back knowing that that's a losing fight. So might as well pull back to my choke, get some help, and, you know, do our thing. So Paladins moving in. It looks like they're going after the Hydra. Now is the time to kind of position Rakkarth. The Paladin is here, and I'm like, okay, let's go for maybe one final blow here. But the Chill of Sansar actually gets some really, really good damage here on your boy Alberic, who does have heroic killing blow popped. But the Whiplash is also active, putting him up to 660, a charge bonus of 53. This Hydra is quite formidable, and you can see it's really actually destroying Alberic so quick. And Alberic breaks, he's at 800 HP. The Beast Slaver, the mighty Rakkarth, going to be coming overhead, looking to perhaps dive in here and break this hero. Just make sure he doesn't come back, and yes, you can see the dreaded Beast Lord flies over. Is his title Beast Lord or Beast Master? But anyways, he gets ahead of him, and here comes Brachus. Imagine waking up to that look right there. That is quite an intense gaze there from the mighty dragon. And Alberic survives the first attack. We'll see if he can endure the second as the dragon does attack. And Alberic, the Duke of Borderload, falls before the clutches of Rakkarth, the Beastmaster, who is buffed up by the Mind Razor once again. And now the Paladin is broken as well. So the Hydra and Rakkarth, though they do take quite a bit of damage in the later stages of this game, they do an excellent job cleaning up. The fact that Rakkarth was able to come back is a pretty big boon. He's at 132, just barely holding on here, man. The Helibroni moving forward to intercept the peasant mobs. And the Dread Spears, as I suspected, explained, are losing in combat here to the Battle Pilgrims. But that's okay. I think considering we have Chill of Sansar, he's not that close to his healing cap. He can heal up quite a bit. I think is a pretty big boon here. So the Chill of Sansar are going to be working on these Battle Pilgrims here, which are afflicted by the enfeebling foe. Big breath attack coming in from Rakkarth, but he also gets picked off as he does it. I think it was worth it because he didn't have much more to contribute. So breaking these Battle Pilgrims really does allow me to get into the battle lines of the Bretonnians, get to those peasant archers, and do our thing. So here we're moving forward. We got a big ugly blob. You can see the Damsel of Life is going to be getting shreked pretty damn bad. And the Bretonnian archers do use the last of their, who knows what they covered those poison tips with, but they use the last of their arrows there. More Battle Pilgrims coming in, but like I said, the Hydra is going to be able to easily just mulch through these guys. He's got those glowing blue eyes and he's pissed. And Chill of Sansar is such a damn cool unit. I really like it. I wish monstrous builds were a little bit more viable with Dark Elves. It's kind of tricky because a lot of other factions, if you bring monsters, whether it be Lizards or Empire, you know, they have ways to heal. They have Lore of Life, they have High Magic, they have Apotheosis, Regrowth. But with Dark Elves, you kind of have to rely on the regeneration of the monster, which pretty much makes the Charybdis kind of like a haggard, janky choice. Yeah, it does have that leadership effect, but in general, it's not enough in my opinion. If the Charybdis, it would have been cool to see like the High Beastmasters have some way to heal their beasts. I know that might be not so much in the flavor of the Dark Elves. They're more of an aggressive faction, right? Like, you know, inflict pain to make them do more pain. But I don't know, that would make their monsters a little bit better. That's why the Hydras you can get away with in competitive games, but that's why you pretty much never see the Cryptus. It's just too much of a glass cannon, and it doesn't have breath attacks, and a little bit of a shame there. Anyways, Damsel of Life is broken. Here we're just kind of bouncing back and forth, fighting whatever may come our way. The Dread Spears and the Hydra and the Sorceress, trying to work through these Battle Pilgrims, and they are getting worn down over time. And of course, once their frenzy is gone, their leadership will start to buckle due to terror routes. Crows of Cain come in and actually attack the Peasant Bowmen there in the back. And yeah, it's a really, really grindy fight here in the end game. But the Hydra is going to be able to clean up shop there at the end. And that is pretty much it for the Bretonnian army. And that will be it for the game as well. So GG, well played. It was a crazy game. I almost lost that super hard. I lost Rakkarth and a Hydra in like one really terrible engagement. The Phoenix King's Shadow Walkers, man, really caught me off guard. And I didn't know how it happened. I assumed it was Alberic and the Paladin during the game. And everybody in chat was like, hey, look at it. You know, it was actually the Shadow Walkers over there. So Rakkarth, 3,800 value, really good. Hydras, you know, 35 and 12, pretty good, decent value. And the Dark Shards, 22, 22, and 2,000. Dark Shards, man, armor-piercing missiles, really incredible stuff. Yeah, the build works okay. It's pretty durable, right? You have the double healing. You do also have the sniping abilities, which is fun. I wouldn't call it like a super intense FFA build, but it did the trick. Now for Lambie, Bretonnian, he did okay. Look at that, 2,000 here on him, 1,300. Questing Knights did decent across the board, especially the companions, and I would imagine the Peasant Archers didn't do that much worse. Phoenix King was certainly a gangster here with 1,600, 2,700 on the Shadow Walkers. I love seeing that value, and yeah, very, very cool build bringing the old Prince. And for the Dauntless Onslaught, definitely a man of the people, bringing the Rogue Idol, but he got sandwiched. He got caught in a bad matchup versus, you know, my anti-large and armor piercing, and it was just a tricky situation. But big props to you, Dauntless Onslaught. Love seeing the big in here. All right, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that game. We'll be back with more soon. You guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, and yeah, a lot of fun videos on the horizon, tournaments, all that sort of good stuff. Take care, guys, and we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.